For those of you who don't know, Johnny Depp played the role of Raoul Duke in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's based on the book, which was itself based on a series of adventures that Hunter S. Thompson experienced while gobbling up drugs with both hands. It turns out that while Johnny Depp was staying with Thompson to prepare for the role, Depp discovered an unpublished manuscript in Thompson's home and persuaded him to publish it. Now, years later, Depp has produced a film adaptation of that book and is starring in it as well. The Rum Diary stars Depp as a young journalist named Paul Kemp. Kemp travels to Puerto Rico to work for a local newspaper that's running on its last legs. The writers are a mixed bunch of dregs and alcoholics. The biggest paradox of this movie is that Depp is playing the younger Thompson in 2011 when he had previously played the older Thompson 15 years ago. Now, to be fair, I don't know how much of the story is based on actual fact. With Hunter S. Thompson, it's impossible to tell. The Rum Diary is an intriguing tale set in a lush but dangerous environment where poverty-stricken locals contrast with the fat American tourists who hide from the local crime in luxurious hotels. Meanwhile, Kemp indulges in alcohol, cigarettes, cockfights, and even dabbles in narcotics, introduced to him by a wild-eyed, burnt-out pariah that could only be played by Giovanni Ribisi. Aaron Eckhart, meanwhile, plays the typical rich asshole who isn't above corruption or land-grabbing. It's the kind of role that Eckhart is good at playing, infusing the arrogance of his class with a vicious streak bred through competition. Amber Heard co-stars as Chenault, the love interest of both Kemp and Sanderson, and really doesn't have much else to do other than serve as a motivation for the two men. Now, The Rum Diary isn't nearly as energetic and mesmerizing as Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas was, but then again, it's an entirely different movie. For one thing, it's actually focused on a plot rather than the characters themselves. I have to admit that it is refreshing to see Depp once again channeling Hunter S. Thompson, but since Paul Kemp is a loose portrayal of Thompson at the start of his career, don't go in expecting him to hallucinate bats and wear Hawaiian shirts. In all honesty, the film's first two-thirds are a bit mediocre, but are obviously building up to a massive payoff where Kemp takes on Sanderson in some way that displays the first signs of classic Hunter S. Thompson persona. What we actually get is so different from what I expected, and yet it couldn't really have ended any other way than it does. It leaves a surprising amount to your own interpretation, as to decide whether it's a happy ending or not. Considering its production history and considering the tone of the movie, The Rum Diary feels like someone's homage to a departed friend. And of course, I'm talking about Johnny Depp paying tribute to Hunter S. Thompson, who tragically killed himself in 2005. Thompson's fingerprints are all over this movie, and the screenplay was written by director Bruce Robinson, but this really is Depp's project. While it didn't exactly entertain me as much as other movies have in the past, its heart is in the right place, and the story's quirkiest characters are very well performed and well written, leading to some genuinely hilarious moments throughout the film. Now granted, the love story is generic, and the corrupt land-grabbing isn't very new for people who've seen enough movies, but to be honest, they're not trying to sell this movie as a love story or as a commentary on capitalism. This is a story from the vault that is Hunter S. Thompson's life. A life that many of us have been fascinated by, entertained by, but if we were honest with ourselves, we wouldn't dare try to imitate it.